We're back, baby. We got a lot to talk about. SEC Media Days and all of that jazz here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. You got me, your boy Coop here. I'm your boy Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Just give us 5 anyway and gift it. So, it's been a bit, but we're back because we're in OV season. So, we got a long list of topics that we got to dive into and get some opinions on. Like, first off, SEC meetings in Destin, Florida. Got to see what Coop thinks about the Red River rivalry game, right? We've got to dive into some comments that Venables mentioned about the offensive line. We'll talk the 2024 players that have moved in today. So y'all know you're going to be excited about that. And then we'll wrap things up with a few other topics from the 25 board and position stuff. So make sure you hit us up on the Unfair Fan Line, 430-901-1906. Let us know what y'all think of the show. If you want to give us some of your strongest opinions, we will always accept those. So you can call me, leave me a voicemail. We'll maybe even play you on the show one day, 430-901-1906. Coop! Happy, Sunday, man. How you feeling?
Feeling great. Let's see here. The OU men got a little bases first and second with one out, up 3-1, bottom to 6. So they're cruising. But this is like June 1st equals like it's go time. Like it is all downhill from here, and we'll have the season right away. But I miss your face. Jay.
I concur, man. I miss yours as well. It's been a bit, a lot of travel, a lot of work. But at the same time, to be honest, could have got on here and just kind of, shot the, together. But I figure rather prepare and actually give y'all some content and stuff to truly talk about. Topics have been scarce because, of course, we just passed list season and I talk about them ad nauseum in individual videos. But we're here now at the point where stuff's about to start going down, right? We are here we've got OV season now coming up beginning this weekend. You're going to see players have made visits. Next weekend is when it really heats up all the way to the end of June. So, me and Coop's going to keep you all informed and locked in. The Sooner or Later channel, I'll have some videos on offers that we've given and players I think that makes sense to talk about. So we'll put some stuff up. Coop said he's going to make some video content on some recruits as well to get everybody excited. So keep your eyes open on that. But I want to open up the show and talk through SEC Media Days, right? And so, for our faithfuls here on the channel, do anticipate seeing this probably as a clip. But, because this is something we've got to talk about. So, first and foremost, SEC meetings went down this past week down in Destin, Florida. Shout out to all of the beat writers and the guys out there doing their thing. George Stoyer was definitely dropping some bombs, some great information there. The OU Insider team, I believe they were putting some info out. Great info coming from the guys. And so, Venables, of course, had a couple interviews. We all saw first the Joe Castiglione and the AD over at Texas. I always forget his name. I think it's DaCosta. I always get his first name wrong. But they both were laughing and joking about the rivalry. And I'm going to ask you all some questions. I want to get y'all's comments, get y'all in the comments for me on this. They talked about how the Red River rivalry does not rival any other actual rivalry, right? They talked about the experience. They talked about how big of a deal it is. And man, did the SEC folks push back hard. So much smack talk was made. Even Paul Feinbaum was like, man, shots fired. The cause was like, I'm not shooting any shots. Just letting you know, it's a different type of thing. And you had a couple of talking heads chimed in, and I've got to give a special shout out to Josh Pate. Everybody watches Pate. The late kick with him, and he immediately said, yeah, no, nothing rivals it, because he went last season, he got to experience the environment and said, oh, this is what y'all are working with. My apologies, I didn't realize it. So Coop, they've moved the time, right? We're not going to be at the 11 o'clock kickoff. We'll talk about some of the other games in a minute, but it's going to be moving to 2:30. I want to get your initial thoughts on it because I've got a couple nuggets to toss in there for everybody. But please give me your nuggets on what you felt about the time move from 11 to 2:30.
All we wanted to do was have OU Texas not at 11 a.m. And all we wanted to do was play Nebraska at night.
That was it.
I mean, if you ever want to think like, is the SEC, are they it? They're it. I mean, that the first thing they do is they drop a bunch of 2:30 games for Oklahoma right away. And then there's rumors of Death Valley, the LSU game. They're trying to push that tonight. And so, it's whereas the Big 12, it seemed to not really just listen to Oklahoma, and really just take care. I mean, in a relationship, you're supposed to take care of your partner's heart, right? You're supposed to look out for them and do stuff. And that partnership wasn't happening. And, we can get into, a lot of the whys and everything like that. But I'm excited for 2:30. I don't think that you play that game later than 2:30 because you play that game later 2:30 and then you start dealing with some shenanigans late night. And it's already borderline as it is. So, it's a good thing. I mean, it allows you to get out there. Fans are going to be able to get a little lubed up a little bit more. But I want to talk about, because I said this on Hall of Fame and with Jason.
Shout out to Jason, he in the chat.
Shout out Jason in the chat. I didn't see him yet, but I love you, Jason. So we were talking about that there, and like the talk about who is the greatest rival. I don't understand like why there has to be a greatest rival. Like it means different to different things, right? Now, I will say that the old Oak and Bucket's nowhere near the Red River Rivalry or the Cocktail Party or the Iron Bowl. That's none of those things even compare. Like Washington State, locally they probably do, but what makes OU Texas crazy is the Texas State Fair probably can bank a lot of money just by having that, but it's the fair environment. It's the hatred. It's split down the middle. It is the 1 and 2 in the Southwest Conference in the Big 8. It's OU Texas. It's Red River. You're split by miles, right? Everybody's got 4 hours to drive. So, like right there, it just is. It's something completely different. I don't say that OU Texas has the same animosity of like an Auburn or an Alabama. It's a different type of animosity, but that's their own thing. So. I like the 2:30. The game is what it is. I mean, we were there last year, and it was, it was just everything. When Gabriel throws that pass and Anderson catches it, I mean, the whole damn place just erupts, and it's just you go out there and players are rolling out. Those things are terrific, and 2:30 is just going to make it so much better because I promise you this. I hate waking up and getting Starbucks and then getting in the car and driving to the fair and switching to beer like 30 seconds later. So,
yeah, I guess that mixture of caffeine to alcohol content is similar to going with a Red Bull and vodka. But I mean, hey, that's whatever floats your boat, lights your candle. But no, you made a good point here. And so, I'll give this nugget in just a minute around the game. But like you said, we wanted to play Nebraska at night. We just wanted some 11 o'clock kickoff games on a regular basis. And truth be told, a lot of people have pointed out for Red River, they don't want to have to wake up super early to figure out how to get down to the fair because that's the big thing. There's like 200,000 to 300,000 people floating around the fair at the exact same time as the game. And I mean, if you've been there before, cell signal sucks. You can't make phone calls in there and anything. And it's nothing that can be done about it because it's so it's such a concentrate of people there. And so actually it's funny, it's like I got better phone signal inside of the Cotton Bowl than I did when I was walking outside in the fair, which is even funnier to even think about, but I digress. I like the time at 2:30. I think it's fine. It's going to be hot regardless, right? If you go at 11, by the time the game's getting past halftime, you're cooking. Now you're going to be cooking up until about halftime, and it's going to cool down. Some people had concerns about safety in the evening, but at the same time, Texas does a really good job of securing things around that, even though you're in a quote-unquote sketchy area. I think it'll be fine. I do like the fact that I think the 2:30 time is better. We're going to talk about the rest of the schedule because there's a few more games that came out that looks like we're not going to be having these 11 o'clock kickoff, guys. Be excited. 11 o'clock kickoffs might be a thing of a past. We may see like 2 per season, or based upon, who we actually play. But
I want to hop in right on top of that. It's going to be a time to where we're going to get an 11 o'clock kickoff, and I think that already at this point, we're like, that's fine. The mentality's been changed that fast. We haven't even played a game in the SEC, and it's already changed that fast.
It's Stink. You got a good point here. Same thing with you, Coop. Stink points out here, which I love. SEC, the Red River Shootout will be SEC's game of the year, and then those fans can apologize. Are those other rivalries 50-50 in the stands? I don't think so. You're 100% correct, because the only one that's close to that will be Georgia and Florida, the cocktail party, which is out in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And that's the only other neutral site rivalry game that you see on a regular basis. And granted, I'm going to say, that game I know is huge, but when Pate got there, it's funny because when Pate got there, and then when some of the players were talking about it for the first time, everybody tells you what to expect. There's the tunnel. You've got the OU right there in the end zone. When you come in, depending on which team you're in, you hear all these cheers. If you're OU walking in, and as soon as you get past half field, by the 50, you get all the boos rained on top of you. And then, of course, vice versa for Texas. They come out, it's just boo, boo, boo. So they're like, oh my God, they hate us. They get to 50, and they're like, wait, they love us. It's one of those that's mind-blowing until you actually experience it. And a lot of players pointed that out. Pate said the same thing. He's walking around, he's like, I was in shock just to hear the reigns of both sides. And the crazy thing is, if you got the capabilities, especially having a media pass, you can walk out, go in the fair at halftime, get you a corn dog, play a couple games, and then go right back into that bad boy. But we won't talk about all those privileges that people like him get. But I think the other thing to point out here, and I love that this was pointed out, like Stinky pointed out, and thanks for the $20, my boy. You always show love in here. That 50-50 stance piece is crucial. It's what changes a lot of it, right? It's what makes the environment different. And there was one thing that was pointed out here that I needed to jump on really quick. And Kyle, hey, I was in the same boat as you, Onikuno, our boy Sean, said the same thing on social medias. EA responded and said that's fixed in the actual game, right? You're going to get the actual Cotton Bowl logo on there. You're going to get the field set up properly. All that's been fixed. The trailer is what was bad. And I'm glad we all called them and put their feet to the fire. Looks like they did pay attention to that detail. Plus, they're going to have 50-50 split. That supposedly is going to actually look like a 50-50 split. So, thank goodness. Thank y'all for going in there, talking noise, getting on EA Sports to do their jobs right. But here's a nugget for you all. Oklahoma, since 2000, Oklahoma and Texas have played, I think it's 7 total games outside the 11 o'clock window, 6 of them at the 2:30 time, right? And in that time, Oklahoma's 5-1. The only loss was 06 to Texas. I think it was 28-10. Texas won that game. But a lot of the other blowouts and the shutouts all happened at 2:30 for Oklahoma. So 5-1 against Texas at the 2:30 slot. Do with that as you will. But also, yes, the white version of Jackson Arnold's supposed to be in the game. They may have him a nicely tanned version because it is 2:30 in Texas. So I totally get why they may want to make him a lot darker than what he really is. But yeah, I think they kind of rushed that trailer to get it out there, and of course we got to watch ourselves get abused. But I'm not mad. My feelings ain't hurt. I ain't upset. You know why? Because Venables talked about that. So let's move on to the next thing, Coop. BV had a lot of conversations while he was down there at the SEC meetings. He talked about the offensive line. And he talked about, because that's the thing that everybody's pushing back on. I actually saw a post not too long ago that, let me see if I can find it real quick. Yes, SEC Unfiltered. It was an anonymous coach that was talking about OU and talking about them coming to the SEC, right? And the quote basically was that OU's a big program. OU, a big-time program, but, if there's still a lot of questions around their offensive line that everybody's having, they're going to have a tough time coming into the SEC. Now, this is an anonymous SEC coach that said this. They didn't want to put their name on it, of course, which I kind of appreciate that they just kind of, give us some really unfiltered stuff to talk about. So, Coop, offensive line-wise, BV talked about them and said he's actually a lot more excited about the offensive line than people recognize. He thinks that we've got the dudes up there that are going to be ready for it. And I'm going to be honest, I 100% agree. I'm going to pull up this deal for you to talk through. But Coop, tell me, offensive line, as we're going into this summertime workout, how you feeling about it? What's your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I don't think that the offensive line is going to win the Joe Moore this year, but this is not going to be, it's not going to be a sieve. It's not going to be, just a bunch of folks running through. And the good thing to note about it is, like, if you know that it's going to be a challenge at this point in the year, you can be preparing and, working to get those guys better, but then also working on workarounds. It would be different if we were sitting here going, the offensive line is going to be fine, let's just move on. And then nobody was worried about it at all. And then it shows up and you're like, oh God, it's an issue. So I don't have any concern about the offensive line. Is it going to be dominant? No, it's not going to be dominant. But does it have pieces that gives it the opportunity to be a quality offensive line? It absolutely does. And I think that when you bring in Hickman's going to be he's going to be an upgrade of what we saw this year. And I mean, as much as I love Everett and as much as I want Bates to succeed, like you're rolling into the SEC this year, and this has to absolutely happen. I think that the offensive line, they just need to be good, like just good. That's what they need to be. And you've got the pieces around with Sexton, like we've said. Fabici Wiwu has just absolutely been just destroying folks, and he looks great. And so you roll in a couple of these other guys, and not to mention, EPL's now going to be on campus, and so he gets to hop in there. Spencer Brown has not shown us a lot yet, but he still has experience. And so I think the concern for Sooner fans is the starting offensive line is going to be good. What we cannot absorb at this point is multiple injuries. I think we can work through, hopefully not the center, but I think that we can work through one. With Everett coming back, mid-season, or I guess he's going to be fully ready to go mid-season. That gives you some depth right like there. That. Yeah, it gives you some depth right there. But we're not completely just wanting across the offensive line. Would we like to have a bookend right tackle or left tackle? Yes. But guess what? Every other team in the country would like the same thing, to just be able to say, like, hey, listen, our two tackles are really nice. So I'm not worried about the offensive line. They need to be good with a quality defense, a quarterback who can throw on the run and move around, and the offensive weapons that you have. Jackson Arnold goes out there. All he has to do is recognize what to do and make the quick decisions. And so that's the things that you want to see from Arnold, and that's going to help the offensive line. And then also, I think you see Latrell spread the ball around a lot, and you make it hard for defensive line to really key in on one area or the other.
And that's what you want, right? I think that the adjustments will be there. Bill Beatonbow, of course, is historic. He's done a fantastic job, and everybody's pointing this out in the chat, so we appreciate y'all doing that. And Kyle, you're right. I think this is the one thing that Pate's doing. Pate's optimistic about the offensive line. Especially optimistic about Oklahoma in the first year, but of course not trying to put too many hot takes out there, and this is the reason why. So look at this. Highest graded returning SEC interior offensive lineman. Look who's number 2 on this list. Guy that we picked up out of the portal, Mr. Brandon Hickman. Now, he played at SMU last year, but he's a 3-year starter. He has a track record of play. His grade's a 79.7. I looked up Fabici Wiwu. He's a 70. So he's not too far off from a Tyler Booker or whatnot, roughly 2 points off. And so offensive line-wise, we'll be a lot better, right? Grading-wise, it ain't easy on the interior offensive line to get them high grades until, you work with the right person. And I think Beatonbow's going to have them that. So like you said, Coop, to me, Fabici Wiwu is probably going to be the most impactful one out there. He's going to be able to play guard. I think he can play tackle a little bit, but he's going to be at that. I think he'll be that right guard. I'd already given y'all my depth. I think it's going to be Sexton on the left tackle, left guard. It's going to be Ozeta with Hickman in the middle. We'll have Wiwu as right guard, and I think right tackle is most likely going to be Jake Taylor. And then you'll have Tarkin as well as Spencer Brown rotating around. And Tarkin, I'm hearing he looks a lot better coming in. So for me, As long as the offensive line's fine, as long as the offensive line does their thing, guess what? This entire season outlook completely changes. And I think we'll see that against Temple, which is the first game of the season. And I forgot to make mention of that. So let's go ahead and talk about that real quick. As we, y'all see this grade. So y'all should be excited about said grade. That the games for next season, of course, we know Temple's the Friday night game, which I'm pretty excited about that. 6 p.m. Central. We'll be able to, get a preview into the SEC and be the primetime game. Can't beat that. Well, on top of that, the Houston game, I believe, is the one that's going to be at night, 6:45 on a Saturday night. So we ain't got to worry about playing them at 11 o'clock. And the same thing with Tulane. That's like a 2:30 game. So we don't have any 11 o'clock games to go. I'm thinking Tuesday, the 11th, is when we will see the rest of the SEC schedule. And I think that we won't have very many games in the SEC conference be at 11. The best part, too, is later in the season, they're going to have flex. They're going to make it more of a flex schedule to where you can flex teams into the primetime spots, either 2:30 or at night. And based upon the way this season potentially can go, I'm sensing from Missouri on, there's a good chance we could be placed in some of those primetime slots. So, yeah, I should be happy about that. But as long as Jackson Arnold is that dude, in which Brent Venables has said, he said at the SEC meetings, he said it in one of the videos I saw in the interviews, he's like, he has no concerns about him whatsoever being prepared for the SEC. And I say that because, and I have a video coming out, I believe it'll be Tuesday when I finish editing and getting all the graphics together. But just a preview for you all, the ESPN's Bill Connolly dropped his SP Plus ratings. And guess where we're rated at in returning production on the defensive side of the ball now, Coop? We started at 8, bro. Like 84, or like 79% of our defensive production was coming back. We're like 80. I think it was like we was 8th in the country, number 1 in the SEC. We moved up to 3rd with 86% of our production coming back. That's what Jackson Arnold is seeing in practice. I think he's probably seeing the best defense he's going to see this entire season, right? Goes back to the Sam Bradford conversations with Wilson and Venables, how they used to duke it out mentally in practice all the time. Yeah. And Sam Bradford couldn't move the ball. I think we're going to be fine, guys.
I want to say something also with the flexes. We are now going to be operating between ESPN and ABC going forward. So it's not, a fight between ABC and Fox and then them trying to do you can plan out because, just from someone who was selling those TV commercials for the past several years, these are $10,000, $15,000, $25,000 30-second commercial spots here in Tulsa. That's Tulsa. Oklahoma City bigger, Dallas bigger, other markets bigger. So with those pieces, it's going to be so much easier because they're going to be able to plan out a little bit more. They're going to be able to do something more than the 6-day flex. And so I think that's going to be a great deal because, ESPN, ABC, that whole network, they need the SEC to make the money for them. Because if you've seen, over the past couple of years, every single analyst is getting canned because they just can't pay for everybody. And so the more that Texas and Oklahoma and the SEC get in front of people in the prime time and the best games, and this is terrific too because I bring this up all the time is. With the first playoff ever, how many more teams are going to be more? I love Jackson Johnson, love that guy. But how many more teams get to stay engaged for longer because of the playoff? So that is going to also be to where they are going to want the big games, the games that mean something. And when the games need to mean something, it's hard to say, oh, well, Oklahoma's playing K-State this week because nobody outside the Midwest gives 2 craps about that. So what up, Mr. Woolard?
It's a fair point. That is a fair point. And so I know going to Tennessee, I expect Tennessee to be a prime time slot because, that week when I looked at the schedule, I didn't really see anything that just It probably is one. I probably need to go back and re-review it, but it feels like that one's going to be a bigger one, mainly because of the hype will return, the high-flying Tennessee offense, and what he's been doing over the last few years from UCF over to Tennessee, getting double-digit wins there and winning an Orange Bowl, something they haven't done in a while. It's going to be a very, I think that one's going to probably be one that's going to be huge. So,
hey, Jay, can I ask you a question on that game? And I want to hear your opinion. What do you think Oklahoma does for Josh Heupel in that game? Something or nothing?
Oh, they do something. And I say that because we're talking Brent Venables going up against Josh Heupel again, right? We're talking Brent Venables, who was the defensive coordinator, and Heupel trying to throw the ball against him on a regular basis, right? That's what we're getting. I think that he'd be prepared for that offense. I mean, it's a smorgasbord of the air raid mixed with, Lane Kiffin's offense and a mixture of Frosty's offense. We've seen that with Lebby a little bit. So Lebby's offense was really close to what Heupel's was, with a mixture of Lane, with sprinkles of Lane in there. I think we'll be just fine. It's going to be a fun game.
Hopefully he runs lots of jet sweeps.
Tons of them. Tons of them. And remember, Latrell's offense is similar as well. Heupel probably will. But I'm going to be excited. That's going to be a fun game. I'll be definitely rooting for my Sooners to kill them. Y'all know that, my SEC team originally was Tennessee. And so they unfortunately get the wrath of my current squad, which is my Sooners still. So, all right, Coop. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe. If you're listening, rate, review, and all of that jazz. Let's talk about 2024. Y'all know what's happening, right? I know a few people should know that our 2024 players are now pulling up. Let's add you to the conversation. I'm going to trade you out. See, is that going to let me zoom you in? It ain't. So we'll do that.
There we go.
All right. Moving day. OU, their expert account dropped a video of players moving in, and you saw these guys pulling up. And so we got to talk about the players coming in and the excitement we should have. First and foremost, you got the number one running back in the country from the 2024 class in Taylor Tatum pulling up, 5'10-ish, 200 pounds. Baseball player as well. I believe he's kicking it at the baseball game too. So it's going to be a fun time to see that. You've got Eddie Pierre, Louis, one of the two, but he was the number one interior offensive lineman on Rivals. So, that's kind of huge if one recruiting site had him rated that high in comparison to the rest.
Yeah.
In discrepancy. So somebody's right. We'll find out. You got Jeremiah Newcomb coming out of Arizona, 5'11" corner. He's the guy that's going to be chasing the slot dudes. And the best part, I'd say he's probably he's going to be your Josiah Wagner replacement, right? Wagner was one, I was kind of sad seeing him go because he was talented, but he just couldn't stay healthy. I think Newcomb comes in. Newcomb has a bigger frame in comparison. So I think he stays healthy, you're good, right? And then you got your speedsters and Zion Ragin as well as KJ Daniels, wide receivers, more slot dudes, fast. Both of them run sub 4.40s. I've synced track dudes. So with Ragin being 5'7" dude, he's just quick guy. KJ Daniels as well out of Louisiana. So we got one out of Georgia, one out of Louisiana, which is crazy. And then you got your local kids in the secondary with Michael Patterson McDonald, close friends of David Stone. Nice safety who likes to hit. Roughly just under 5'10". And then you've got Devon Jordan, another corner who's going to be chasing a lot of the slot dudes, 5'10", 170. But he's also very scrappy. He's a track dude.
Yeah.
So he's fast, right? He's like Jaden. He's a smaller version of Jaden Rowe. So we got them coming in. Coop, talk to me. How you feeling about these players coming in? Who should everybody really keep their eyes on?
Speed and depth, baby. Speed and depth. When you look at this list, the top two are the guys that you really, need to come in and, start getting some work in and become something. I don't think we need Taylor Tatum this year, in my opinion. I think that if he's good enough to get out there and be somebody, then it is welcome added depth. EPL, I've already made the comment on him. Him with just the athleticism that he is. I want to see some creativity. And my dog's dying underneath the table. I apologize that, I'm still super, super excited to potentially see EPL run out there as like a third tight end and catch a pass on the goal line. Like I just think that he is that dude, or jet sweep with EPL, right? I don't think anybody would hate to see that. Maybe it would be up by 30 or 40 at that point. But I like the guys that I really, really enjoy on this list are Newcomb and Devon Jordan. Because I think that they are both really, really good ball skill guys. They're scrappers. They're guys that remind me of Zach Sanchez a lot, or Parnell Motley. Both of those guys were just dudes who would just scrap with you, and they would get in there and they would make it hell on you. And it reminds me of, Lou Dort on defense. You just keep putting your hands on people and keep doing stuff. And you're starting to see that attitude out of guys like with Reggie Powers. We saw him come in and do some crazy. And then this defensive back room, I continue to say, you can't just be a person with a face and show up and have a place on this team. Like, you actually have to be a baller. So those are guys that I'm excited to see.
I'm with you on that. I think the one that jumps out to me the most on this one, I mean, outside of EPL, I think just the big offensive lineman like him and his ability to move. I mean, we watched him run track, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody's seen him watch. I've played that video so many times just because it's just amazing to watch him just be scooting at 6'3", 335 pounds. But honestly, I think Zion Ragin is one that's really got me intrigued. Like you said, Tatum, we don't need him this season. We're probably going to want to, keep him in good condition as well as prep him for baseball. That way, when he's ready next season, I think next season you'll probably see a big jump from him. X-Rob should be probably if there's a freshman that's going to run, I think X-Rob is the one that's going to be the one that's going to get some carries, right behind Hicks. But Ragin over here on the slot, hey, man, if he catches the ball and he's gone, Yeah. He has the capabilities of blowing the top off of defenses and just, I could see him being a mini Burks or even somebody faster, right? Like, I can even see him in like the Brennan Thompson area. The question always is health. As long as he stays healthy, we're good. That was the big thing with Brennan is, can Brennan stay healthy? And, we get him healthy and he can just outrun everybody. Yeah. I think Ragin's going to be the one that makes me say, gets your boy in every way, shape, or form excited. So, y'all let me know in the comments who's getting y'all's attention. Let me scroll through here and see who we got up in here. What up, Mars? What up, Hank? Hank's always here, and he's pulling us. Tatum picked OU. Yes, he did, which is always exciting. And he's here. That's the best part, is that he's here. Midland Sooners got a question for us. Thanks for the $4.99. Peer character lying on his side, raised his arm while he's saying, how's it going? But Seth gave us $2 and had a question. You can only win by 35 plus versus one team. Who is it? It's going to be Texas, LSU, or Bama.
Damn, that's a really good question.
You can only win by 35 against one of these two. One of them three. It's always Texas.
No. Because anybody who has played with LSU fans before knows that a 35 spot on them would be terrific. I mean, just thumping LSU by 35. Those fans are psychos, and I just feel like you walk in, because I feel like we beat Texas by a touchdown, I'm happy. I think we beat Alabama by a touchdown, I'm happy. If we go out there and stomp LSU at their crib at nighttime, our first go-round, that will get some folks' attention. If we beat Texas by 35, everyone will look at us and go, they always do that.
No, I mean, so I guess that's where I disagree. So, like, I went to LSU Tennessee 2 years ago when Tennessee had Hendon Hooker's last season there. And one, the LSU fans were fantastic, right? They were very nice. I actually went and saw when we went to OU LSU at the Peach Bowl.
Peach Bowl.
The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and we got throttled by Joe Burrow and them. They were great. They're lunatics, and they can drink. They will drink your city dry. but they were cool, right? They're cool smack talkers. So I don't have a problem with LSU. I always want to destroy Texas. Like anytime that I can hold it over the head of all of my friends that are Texas fans and say we blew them out, because I mean they're gonna hold the one on us, for as long as they can, because it's been a while. But it's got to be Texas. Now, if I couldn't pick Texas, if it had to be a Tennessee, LSU, Bama, you got me there. I think I'd rather blow out LSU if it's LSU. Alabama and Tennessee, which is the real UT. I think I would go that direction. I have to go LSU.
What about this? Missouri and Texas swaps out.
I mean, everybody wants. Well, I'm going to say this, and this is going to be very controversial. I'd still pick LSU because Missouri doesn't matter to me. Like, I've seen them for years. Like, I get that everybody has beef with them and everybody's been fighting with them. Man, they're irrelevant to me still. Like, I don't feel like it's even a rivalry, right? Yeah. But I know a lot of people is going to be in the comments saying that they would love to just throttle Missouri. They would throttle Missouri. That's who they will want to. Personally, I would like to say that, but I just don't. Nothing about them appeals to me.
Yeah,
is that wrong to say?
No, because again, it's Missouri. And by the way, I got into a scrap. I don't know if you saw. I got into a scrap where I commented on somebody, and some guy took a shot at me for having 86 followers on my Twitter account because, whatever. So anyway, long story short, that guy like DM'd me and more craziness, and it's just.
Wait, what? He jumped in your DMs too?
He DM'd me and was like, because I said, hey, I work in sports too, and he was like, whatever, you got 86 people, have a studio. And I was like, oh, that's right. You got to have a studio if you work in sports. I forgot about that prerequisite. So, touche. And but anyway, it's more the fans. I want to. There's Oki. He's Missouri fans think that people, and they think that they're people. I agree with you. I just want to see. I mean, I just want to see a nice little double-digit win, and I just want to see somebody put Caden Green on his backside, and then just know where his pops is, and just look in the stadium, and that'd be good for me.
I get it. Everybody wants that. So Onikuno, my man Sean, thanks for pulling up. Bishop, thanks for that. It is SEC time. You are right. We are prepped for that. But if it's anything, as much as I would like to say that I am hardcore on the Missouri train, I'd rather blow out LSU or Bama. Someone that's going to be a meaningful game. I'm ready to see some other teams fall from grace, though. Get back to their standard stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I'm ready to see them go back to their standardness. But let's talk about this, Coop. One last thing. PFF dropped this. I dropped a video on it, and this is one that, of course, shocked the life out of your boy. Still shocks me. And I'm gonna put this up here on the screen for y'all to enjoy, because I don't think y'all believe me when I say this shocked me. But we got two tight ends that are among the highest receiving grades returning into the SEC. Bauer Sharp, Jake Roberts. Y'all saw I put that video out this morning. A lot of comments, a lot of views. Thank y'all for pulling up on that. Coop, I had to get your thoughts on this. We actually have two tight ends that look like they can actually catch the ball. How you feel about that?
I mean, I can't look at this list without seeing that damn first name. I'm just wondering if we, had him.
Hey, well, I'm gonna say this. It's not for lack of trying. We tried really hard. It just, it'd be what it be. And honestly, to even add to that, I really feel like it was the last offense that scared some of these dudes away. Gotta have it. Now, we've got two dudes on this list. Two, not one, but two. Yeah. If they show them numbers. But anyway, Coop, how you feeling about this? Well, does this getting you in the feels?
I mean, we knew this. I mean, you don't see all those highlights of Bauer Sharp going crazy, and then just go, well, there's nothing, nothing to see here. Like, you saw him, and you were just super excited. when you watch the tight ends in the NFL, when you see Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce and George Kittle, guys like that, those guys are just absolute studs, and they change your offense. And they can, and you saw it with Brock Bowers down in Georgia. Like, you can run your offense around that type of that type of person, and that just adds another tool for Jackson Arnold in the middle. But yeah, Bauer Sharp, we see that, and we always we forget about Jake Roberts. Jake Roberts actually is a good tight end, and yes, Jake Roberts is a great blocker. Bauer Sharp, I promise you, that's what he is working on, and he needs to be an effective blocker. We saw even Stogner last year. He was up and down quite often when it came time to his blocking. He had a lot of moments where he put dudes on their backsides and really showed up, and he got better as the season went on. So this is great. Yeah, this is the returning receiving grades for wide receiver. We know what our wide receivers are. You add a tight end, especially, Bauer Sharp looks like a receiver out there. So this is just another reason why I think it's silly that you look at one position on the team and you haven't done a lot of in-depth, research. You just got to look at the rest of the team and go, like, where's a weakness outside of that offensive line?
Right, and it's more so, if we say weakness, we say question marks, right? Because we've got highly graded guys on there. We just don't know what they look like as a unit now, right? And health-wise, with losing Everett, it's kind of a big deal. It's going to give Joshua Bates an opportunity to, figure things out closely with Hickson. But like you said, Jake Roberts is one. I think when I saw it on the list, I was like, okay, that makes sense, right? He was solid at Baylor, but also, remember, he was recruited by Seth Luttrell down in North Texas. He played at North Texas, for 3 years, and then transferred to Baylor when Luttrell, got fired, and now he's here. And also, he's the older brother, Nate Roberts, the one that's headed to Ohio State as of right now. He's committed to Ohio State, and that we would like to get our hands on. But Jake, at his size, 6'4", 250, you got him. Caden Helms was mentioned in the comments, which I appreciate y'all pointing him out. He is one that's going to be, he's looking healthy. Let's put it that way, right? And Venables even mentioned that the knee issue he was dealing with is not the problem right now. It's, I think he had like a hamstring thing, but he's more so just getting himself into the right shape to play. I think Caden Helms is going to potentially have a chance to have a really big season. So you got him, still got McIntyre, right? And even the McIntyre piece, you got Von Mitchell, right?
Yep.
He's a freshman, right? Even though he's technically supposed to be a junior in high school, going into his senior year, he's there. So he's getting his body. He's big. He's the 6'4", 6'5", 252, and he's legitimate. So, yeah, it's going to be fun seeing that we actually have a very, very, very solid looking tight end room. All right. Hop in the comments. Share any other questions. Let us know. I think we should jump into 25s. What you think, Coop?
Hey, let's do it. Because there's a lot. There's 25. The end of 25 is going to be a ride, I believe. We're going to have fun with this one.
Yep. Shout out to PG. I know he's in the comments, and he's also at the baseball game, if I'm correct. So, but Mad Dog has a question, which I think is good. Do you think Devon Mitchell gets any playing time? I do. I think he I think he rotates in. Do I see him starting as a freshman? No. Do I see him at some point leading into the starting position? I can see it if he shows he can block. I can totally see him late season getting that type of burn, but he would have to jump over both Jake as well as Bauer, as well as Caden Helms and McIntyre. He's got some work to do, but I think he will see some play. Now, scores are up. Coop popped in to score for us. 4-3 after a 2-run homer by Duke. So it looks like we are still fighting in that game. It's top of the 8th. Thank you, Kyle, for that. So Sooner Baseball is doing it. Sooner Softball, the softball ladies were cooking. And I anticipate them making it back to the World Series. So I'm not concerned about them. But anyway, shout out to PG. No, he's like I say, he's in the comments. I think he's at the baseball game. Man has been working on the OV list, right? And so this is 3 players, some players I know that was supposed to be pulling up next weekend, which is when things start. And then the Champion Barbecue weekend, which is the 21st to 23rd, it's going to be huge, as well as the 14th through 16th. The Party at the Palace and then Champion Barbecue. Those two are the biggest weekends for us. And Coop, man, on the board, who on that board really got your eyes laser focused on it? We got to get we got to land.
I mean, you got to go to the offensive line. You've got the big guys out of the DFW area with Fasusi, Lamont Rogers, and Ty Haywood. Mm-hmm. At this point, I'm going to give PG a little shout out. He's kept pretty good tabs on Fasusi for the past year or so, and so PG, if you want to hop in here and give us your thought in the comment. But right now I see some momentum with Ty Haywood, and pushing at him, and I think Darius Afalava is the other offensive lineman that we're making a push for, and I think he's going to be a guy like Foje who just continues to go up the ratings. But this is a recruiting class we talked to last year. And we said, hey, listen, in the region, the offensive, it's not looking great. But at the same time, like, I think we got opportunity in 25. And so now you look into this, and the guys that we are fighting for right now, we're fighting with in SEC. So it is going to be a situation where I think that this season's play has a lot to do with how some of these guys shake their recruitment out. I don't see one of these guys sticking with an Oklahoma or a Texas or an Alabama or A&M if they just absolutely struggle this year and really don't look like they fit. And so that's a tough go. But I also say that, like, I think the Afalava guy that's one that we are going to end up with. And you mix him with Foje, and he can end up being a 5-star. So all that to say is, those guys look great. And then how does EJ round out the wide receiver room? Is there a name still on the board outside of maybe Andrew Marsh that is somebody that you're going to take a crack at? And so, I mean, the offensive line is just it for me, because I feel like anybody else still on the board, whether it's a safety, defensive back, like, those are ones that if we miss, I don't think it hurts as much. But I mean, I think we need one more of those solid dudes on the offensive line, and I think we need 2 or 3 more total, just in the class.
I think we're gonna push and get at least one more interior guy, and I think we get 2. We get 2, if not 3, offensive tackles, right? I think one on the interior and the rest on the outside. And, I mean, I think we push very hard on Fasusi as well as Haywood. I think those are the 2 that have kept my eye going. I think Darius Afalava is one that I think we have a good chance, good shot. He actually even took a screenshot of my video and posted it on the socials. Yeah. So I'm just like, all right, Darius, that means that you come to Oklahoma, right? Go ahead and say you come to Oklahoma. Go ahead and commit. Go ahead.
I'm working on getting them on too. So
yeah, Coop's trying to get them on. But Lamont Rogers is another one, right? I know PG's even talked about him a little bit, that he's one to really keep your eyes on. For me, I'm kind of curious to what the tight end and linebacker rooms look like going forward, right? The trenches, of course, are always critical, so those are always the most important ones. And I think that we've got a lot of irons in the fire around the likes of like the Max Granvilles on the edge, Isaiah Gibson, which we're supposedly actually pretty heavy in on, Smith Orogbo down there in Texas. But linebacker is where I'm curious to what we end up getting our hands on, right? I know that Kamar Archie was supposed to come, the kid from New Jersey from Hun. He's going to school with Cole Breeler, the defensive lineman that we're going after. Kamar's not coming now. I think his visit has been canceled. He's not pulling up. So there's a few linebackers that I'm curious to see who we're going to get our hands on to go with a Marcus James. Like, I mean, hey, to be honest, could we get us another linebacker? Sure. Do we have to? Probably not. I mean, honestly, K. McIntyre is a linebacker too, right? If they decide that, look, you may not crack the tight end spot, we could throw you at linebacker because that's what he came here as, an athlete, either linebacker or tight end. And I heard he can hit. So if he can hit, I wouldn't mind opting to have him run some linebacker with everybody else, but still need some young ones. Marcus James is probably going to be your main guy. I'm curious to who the next one is. And then tight end wise, I know that everybody is very low on our guy JJF, and I pointed this out to you, right? I pointed out you got two guys that are the highest graded receiving tight ends in the SEC right now. We got portal wise. Maybe he needs to live in the portal, and I have absolutely no problem with that. If you get guys that produce out of the portal, JUCO portal guys, we've had those in the past. We've done that for years. If we can keep doing that, I ain't worried about getting these young players. I ain't got no concern about that. Just get guys that can ball. If you find ones that it's proven that can play, I'm in for it. So that's kind of my spiel behind it.
And I think that there's a lot of names that because Mr. Stokes here said, "What do you think about Dakota Terrell?" And he is it Pecola? I think he's down there. He's an Oklahoma guy. I mean, there's a couple of project tight ends that OU also is kind of taking a look at, or some more in-state guys. And those, so we tight end, I think we're going to end up in a really, really cool opportunity, a cool position for. So there's some names that are going to start popping up. But again, I really think that it's let's see what the season looks like for a lot of people. It's almost 2 years ago with Brent Venables going into season one. Everybody knew who he was as a defensive coordinator and who he is as a man. But who is he as a head coach? And then now, same thing. It's who is he as we see kind of what he is. He's got this program going. He's building. Now, what is he going to do against the stiff competition in the SEC? So
that's a good point.
We'll see.
That's a good point. Yeah, we will see. That's a good point. I like that. All right. Let's rapid fire some of these questions that have come down the line, Coop. And then we'll let everybody have themselves a merry Sunday, June 2nd. So Hank asks, how many carries will X get? If I was to be a betting man, I'd say he gets between 50 and 100 this season.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's it.
I think they actually use him. I think he actually gets used. So I say between 50 and 100. Coop, what you think?
Yeah,
you in agreement?
I'm dead on with you right there. You're going to see him in mop-up duty. You may see him, in a lower game, coming in and just be a different change of pace with a little bit of a thumper coming in. So, I think 50 to 100 is good.
I think we actually see a lot more than we anticipate. Now, I mean, I could be completely wrong. He could probably get like 20, but hey, I wouldn't be surprised. All right, Modern Day Caveman asked the question: can OU secondary shut down Luther Burden? I have zero concerns about our secondary against Luther Burden. And I think Luther Burden is a monster out there. I think Brent Venables, Brandon Hall, and Jay Valai have something prepared. I mean, we saw what we did against the Texas wide receiver room, and they had two dudes get drafted in the first round. Yeah, I think Gentry can manage, right? And I think that secondary can manage. I think we'll be fine against them. Sean popped in. Was good, G. You asked about the EA Sports. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, which is funny. Yeah, we saw that they took shots at us, and it feels like EA Sports has also got questions about our offensive line, which I think is, of course, a level of disrespect that I won't accept. But the good thing is that once August comes, they'll send an update to everybody's console and double probably whatever our offensive line rating is. So I'm really Gucci on that one. Jonah is he said it himself. He's taking his visit in season. And I think he mentioned that at the beginning of the year because he had been in Oklahoma so much, as well as Texas, if I'm correct. I think that he wasn't taking Oklahoma or Texas here in June, maybe not even July, which could happen in July. But he's supposed to be taking his visit in season because he's been here so much. Now he's going to go see what everybody else has got to talk about. Now, a lot of people are out on Oklahoma having even a chance for Jonah. I'm not. Baseball is doing some stuff right now. And then you bring in Tatum, who's another good baseball player. And if baseball keeps doing with those baseball things, Jonah's not going to turn away, right? Tennessee is, of course, a threat, even though they're not even on his list yet. But because Tennessee's the number one overall seed in baseball, and LSU has a really good baseball team as well, which is why they were such a much of a threat. But supposedly A&M is the team that's the team to watch, too. And they just knocked off Texas. So yeah, we're battling more baseball than we are football right now, or whatnot. And Jake, good question here. Why do people think Oklahoma will struggle against the SEC? They went 5-6 in bowl season. It's a good question. Coop, you got one, and you got 30 seconds or less answer for that?
Yeah, I do. I do, and here it is a lot of people think it's because you don't get an off week and you don't it's different bodies. It's different bodies every single week. So I don't think the bowl season really has a lot to show for what's it like to play in the SEC. But it's the fact that you have a different breed of athlete, up and down every single roster. And it does not matter. Like Iowa State is very, very well coached, but they don't have guys year in and year out like an Auburn would have. You're going to see an Oklahoma State does great with what they do, but you're going to see a better athlete at Mississippi State. So
fair point.
That's just my thought process is you got that. Now, I also say that this is a different SEC than even last year. I mean, you just you can't really just the fact that Nick Saban is not there anymore. Alabama is still going to be good, and Kalen DeBoer is a great coach. But it is absolutely you cannot sit there and say, like, you can't go, well, Brent Venables stepped in at Oklahoma, and they're going to take a step back because what's he ever done or what's he going to do? Well, you can't take a guy from Washington where nobody's eyes are on you to the program everybody's eyes are on you. So I think that's it. The bowl games don't really matter as much because, again, I personally, as much as I loved beating Alabama in that bowl game, if you think that Alabama was as geared up as Oklahoma was in that bowl game, you're fooling yourself. You've seen it. We did the same thing against Boise State, and we made all the excuses and all the injuries, and we didn't really even care. We wanted to be playing for national championship. You can't go both ways. So I think that's what it is. It's just the body style that you're going to play day in and day out. You're not going to see defensive tackles at 250 because they don't have any depth. You're going to see a guy who's probably 315. He may not be very good, but that's still a lot of physical interaction that you're having, snap in and snap out.
Yep, good point. Greg asked the question, who is going to undefeated in the SEC? My answer is nobody. What do you guys think? Undefeated in the SEC this season? If I was to have to pick one team, it'd be Georgia. I think Georgia's the only one that's going to go undefeated. I think they're the only one that has the opportunity to go undefeated. I do believe they're going to go down there to Texas and win in DKR. I think they do it. It is more so because they're just they're returning too many pieces, in my personal opinion. Now we got to see what Carson Beck looks like with the new set of receivers and tight ends. They use so many tight ends, but they seem to make them out of a factory. It's like the weirdest thing in the world. So Seth asks, can Oklahoma go 4-0 against Texas teams from 2024 through 2027? That's a good question because we'll play Texas, Houston, the next 2 years. Then I think we'll have A&M.
We'll have A&M in 26. Yeah, in 27.
Yep, A&M in 26 and 27. So SEC-based Texas teams, can we go 4-0? I think it's a possibility. I think it's there. I have questions about quarterback play once we get past 25. Like, I don't question Arnold. I still want to see what Hawkins does, and I don't think that Hawkins. I don't question Hawkins because I think he's bad. I question Hawkins because I haven't seen him yet. Right? I've seen what Jackson Arnold can do whenever he settles in. And so I sense that they'll make its way to settle. But the good thing is, Seth the Trailblazers' offense is based upon his quarterbacks, and that's going to be helpful. But the only thing is, so far it feels like Latrell won't ever go anywhere, but I'm giving him 3 seasons. I think somebody's going to try to poach him to be a head coach somewhere at a big program. I don't think he takes a small program. I think he takes a bigger program, and I can totally see him getting a Big Ten job within so many years. Now, will he take it? Very slight chance, but I could totally see him doing that because he's spent time in the Big Ten and he understands that physical football. Coop, think he can go 4-0?
Sure, why not?
Okay, I like that.
That's all I got. That's all I got. You're asking me past this year with the transfer portal and the rules changing every 11 minutes. I think we can go undefeated this year.
Okay. Well, all right. Coop's over. He's hot take out there, baby. We going undefeated this year.
Against Texas teams. Not
Texas teams. Clip it,
Don't
y'all.
clip.
Put it on the internet and
Oh,
say
you
Coop said
clip
it.
that one. No.
Clip it. Get him. All right, Seth with the $2. Thanks again, my man. Rank your top 5 OU regular season games since 2000. Wow.
I got
That's
mine
way
already.
too far back. But I can give you mine. I'll get the 2 blowout wins against Texas at the beginning of the century. Was it 65 and we scored 65 and 63 in both in those games. I'll take those 2. I'll take the Red River one where Caleb with the comeback. That was just too epic, and it was amazing. I'll take the Ohio State win at the Horseshoe, and then I'll take the overtime win against Tennessee.
Oh, hey, yeah, that boomer shoot. You are the man. Competitive depth. I don't even have a drink. I got some BioFreeze. I'll just squirt it on my back. But I would say this is we got bottom of the ninth or top of the ninth, 2 down, nobody on base. We are 1 out away from game. So I'll go with this Texas Tech jump around game. That was a game to where
that was a good one.
I was physically sick by the end of the game because of just the screaming and yelling, the heat and the temperature changes and all those things. So was that one? The UCLA game where Perkins had three punt return touchdowns. I was at that one too. That one was just dope. If anybody was there, I mean, after the second punt return, people were holding 3 up in the air every single time that we were punting, and I think he got it on the second. He got it on the second, and then we were throwing 4 up in the air, and I think we had a sizable lead at that point, so I think we kind of just bailed out, and that's game. OU wins. Nebraska 2000, mainly because I think I told this story, but I went on a baseball trip in '97, and we went up and got to watch OU at Nebraska, and it was like the 71-11 game that we just got absolutely just donkey kicked. And so to my next Nebraska game to be that 2001, that was just it was just nuts. And
it really was.
I drove in from Kansas and the night before, and everybody was jacked. It was so cool. The Miami game, Sam Bradford. Miami came to the crib, and they showed up, and Sam Bradford just started going deep on everybody, and we wiped it with them. And I don't care if Miami is a 2-win Miami or a 10-win Miami. They show up in your house, and you put that stomp on them, and that's some pretty nice stuff. And then I'm going to go completely off the books on this last one and try to be fun. The Tulsa game last year, because you saw what the potential of this team was for last year and even this year. Jackson comes in, he throws a dart to Anderson that, was it 35, 40 yards on a line, never got higher than maybe 10 feet off the ground. It was just a dart, bomb to him. You see Danny Stutzman with the pick 6, which is never a bad thing. So, that was just a fun game to watch. And I went back and watched that several times. So probably not on anybody else's list, but still a fun game.
I agree. And John, Boomer Shoot 99, thank you again. You always show love, especially on social media. He does like the follow stuff on the X Bird all the time, so he always connects Sooner fans with each other. Thank you again. Appreciate that love there. L. Stokes with this one. We're going 12-0, reminiscent of the 2000 Sooners with the team that will play top-ranked teams every week. Yeah, that 2000 team went through a gauntlet of teams, right? And the best part about that one was that team's defense was so good. Like, that was the main focus of what Stoops and Venables was putting together. Man, if we've got Stoops, consulting with Venables just to help him as far as a head coach go, which he's probably stood around. Heck, I bet you Bob still has an office hidden somewhere in the back corner where he can come kick it anytime he wants to. But I'm excited about first off, baseball. Congratulations, it's still alive. They play tomorrow? Probably.
Might be today.
Actually, maybe today. I think they actually play today. Let me see.
Cowboys.
Next up, UConn here shortly in the regional final. So we'll play UConn again. We got to beat UConn. They'll start at 8:06 Central Time. So make sure y'all get yourself tuned in exactly 1 hour. We'll have one more thing of baseball. I will be probably turning it on the telly so that I don't miss it. But They want to wrap this bad boy up. We're over an hour. We appreciate y'all joining us per the norm. Coop, what else do you got before we wrap up? What we're going to do next, we'll probably do this on Wednesday, which would be perfect. We're going to talk list season, a little bit more about the board and about who's visiting over the weekend, because I think the big final list should probably come down. Everybody should have tweeted out where they're going to go visit. I'll get with PG on that. We'll probably have PG on for that one, too, to kind of talk through. We got the list and where we're placed as far as some of these lists go. Because I saw a wide receiver depth chart prediction that was awesome and hilarious. I don't think that it's going to make sense. Stink, it is the Sooner or Later Sports Show. Just search for that one. It's the one that's all recruiting. Coop's going to be doing some recruiting stuff and talking about players because, you know, that's what he likes to do, especially since he be working in the sports world.
Jay,
but yeah, we'll get that. Go ahead.
I do have one last thing, and I'm gonna turn the emotions here. And guys, we love everybody being in here, and we do this so that we can all come together and talk sports. And we appreciate you going, oh, cool. I want to hear what Jay thinks about things, or I want to hear what Coop says about something. I appreciate that, and I'm working on a sponsor right now for us, but some things happened to me around friends and family here recently, and I just say that. Man, mental health is a humongous deal. And if there's anybody who watches this, if you're logged in right now and you ever need somebody just to vent to, man, find somebody and tell somebody. Don't dig, don't bury stuff down. We as men, it's suck it up, rub some dirt on it and move on. I'm just asking people take the risk to share with somebody. And man, I don't know I don't know a lot of you guys personally in the chat, but if you ever need to complain about something, ask why is this happening to me. If you just want to be frustrated, man, just reach out to friends, reach out to us, reach out to somebody. Don't suffer silently, because I had a friend who took his own life a couple weeks ago, and it was pure chemical, and he couldn't see it coming. And I don't think that it was something that he struggled with for a massive long time. But man, I just want to say, man, we appreciate you guys, and let's stay strong. I don't want to ever lose a fellow Sooner. I don't want to lose a fellow human, a fellow Oklahoman, a fellow person. So I love everybody on here, and I do it because of the interaction, and I don't know if I would do it as much if you guys didn't show up. So I appreciate you all, and just please do not suffer in silence.
We appreciate you giving it to everybody. So we'll wrap that up on that good note. If y'all need something hot for us on social media, find us on the X-Bird. We're usually pretty active. I tweet a whole bunch of Sooner stuff just because that's all I do. But like, subscribe. If you're listening, rate, review, give us 5 stars on the Spotify's and the Apple Podcasts and all of that, where you podcasts are download, listen to. And with that, we'll chop it up with y'all in about a couple of days.